All right, I think we are live. Let me get a sip of water here. A few minutes early. Yes, that water has electrolytes, and I've got Dr. Berg's stuff in it. His electrolyte mix. So, as people are filling in, I'm going to remind everyone who comes back and watches this after, please subscribe to my channel. You can join the Orc Army with memberships. Please follow my Instagram. My Facebook page are all listed below every video. And if you guys want to support the channel, but you don't have extra money to spend, just click my Amazon affiliate link that I've been linking below again. I've had it for years and years. I've been linking it lately. And I'll let you support the channel without spending anything because it doesn't cost you anything to use my affiliate. All right. So everything is coming up. We're up to about 25 people watching. Yeah, you have to be subscribed 5 minutes before you can send a message. This builds my subscribers up a little bit. All right, builds them up a little bit. And once we get a few more people in here, because I'm early, I came in early because again, I don't want to run too far over. I have something to do at 3 o'clock my time. So I don't want to run too far over. Hello, JB, long time subscriber, first time poster. Awesome. Good to have you in here. What's good, Jason? You know what's good is if you saw my Instagram today, goat cheese is what's good. That shit is amazing. I put up all my meals I ate today, by the way. So everyone always wants a day of eating, and they're up there. Would you ever review a quick look at someone's training template? Nope. Well, maybe on the paid consultations. But man, when I learned about 9 years ago not to help people with their workouts, I'm like, I have free ones. Go run a proven program. Like here's the thing I would say to someone. If you need help writing your own workout or you need someone to look at it, you shouldn't be writing your own workout. If you have less than 10 years of coaching experience, you shouldn't write a workout even for yourself. But I mean, I look at people's programming, and yes, I give programming advice to people's conjugate templates and stuff and consultations all the time. I probably do, for the non-client consultations, I do about 3 or 4 of those every month, sometimes more. Thoughts on the Bloat Lord, Caricos Grizzly. Keeping in mind, I do not watch YouTube fitness guys. I'm not interested in it. I do know who he is. The guy's brutally strong, absurdly, ridiculously strong. I do question if what he's doing is healthy. Are heavy sets of 2 reps good for strength? Yeah, but you need hypertrophy work with it. Is a Duffel bar really worth buying? If so, which one? You mean Duffel means Chris Duffin's bar, the Duffel. I have the TDS Buffalo bar, which I've been happy with. They also use that one at Westside. And the Duffalo bar, Chris's bar is more expensive. I'm friends with Chris. I like Chris. His stuff is amazing quality. If it's going to be for a single user, just in your own gym, I don't know that dropping $600 on one barbell that's rated to 2,000 pounds that you can't destroy is worthwhile. Are you going to coach some high school kids? Then you need a 2,000 pound bar. Because what other coaches that I know have said is that high school kids will, like even football players who can't even deadlift 400 pounds, will find a way to break bars rated to 1,000. They'll break your bars somehow. It's kind of like when I was taking auto mechanics in high school, our instructor came in one day and looked at us and said, you kids could fuck up a wet dream. And he was right. Because, it's high school kids. Hey, Coach, thanks for your videos. You have helped me a lot. I'm glad that I helped. Hey, Jason, is it okay to do bodyweight chin-ups with fat grips on GPP days, even though I do weighted non-fat grip chins on regular days? Would it be too much? As long as you're recovering from the volume. In fact, I like fat grip pull-ups and chin-ups. I was doing the fat grip pull-ups wide grip for a little while. And I think once I consistently get my reps higher and higher, I'll probably go to the fat grips. Like if I get up to 30 reps on my pull-ups, I may go back to the fat grips just for the grip work. What do you think of Wendler prescribing push accessory work on every 5-3-1 workout? I mean, I guess it really depends on your total volume, right? Depends on your volume. Because I really have to look at it. I mean, is he prescribing some of that's push, his legs push, or do you mean pressing? And I don't think he prescribes pressing every workout. Keeping in mind, I have guys like Isaac who just this week, I mean, he's a natty, been training about 5 years. And I've made his strength blow up in the last couple months. Like, he only does any pressing work once a week. Once a week. And he just hit 260 for 10 pause reps on the bench. And he overhead pressed something like, I don't know, 165 for 13. I am exceeding maximum recovery volume for upper back rear delts. Am I? Up to 10 total sets of rows, pull-ups, upright rows, face pulls on my ME, DE bench days, followed by speed squats, speed pulls, Romanians, good mornings on lower. On both days, I mean, 20 sets is a lot. It is a lot. I've trained that way, but I can tell you my upper back is just as strong, if not stronger now, doing about 15 total sets for my upper back, not counting deadlifts. So, I mean, again, you may just be doing junk volume. You may not be exceeding your recoverable volume, but you may be doing junk volume that isn't adding a single drop of muscle to you. What are some exercises to fix knee cave on the squat? Knee cave on the squat is not always a problem. I haven't seen your training footage. Some of the best squatters in the world with world records have knee cave on the squat. Are you going to tell them that needs to be fixed? They're world record holders. If it's a problem for you and you're not timing it correctly, and it just seems to be a weakness, you need stronger glutes. Right? Get your glutes stronger. And there's a whole variety of ways to do that. Is there any benefit of doing overhead presses with fat grips on the bar? Bugenhagen recommends it. Yeah, honestly, I think for a lot of people, it's more comfortable. I have one of my guys who does strongman. I have a Russian guy who does strongman right now. We live on overhead fat bar work. Like, we live on it. And he seems to love it and thrive on it. Names of other YouTube channels that are worth watching, hobbies outside of lifting. Let's see, YouTube channels worth watching. Postmodern Jukebox. Your favorite musician. I don't watch any fitness YouTube. I haven't watched any in 3 years. Glad to see you're still pushing. Excellent consistency. People counted you out and you kept pushing. Keep it up. And thank you for your donation and that kind response, brother. Will you ever bring back the +5 hat of weaponsmithing? There's approximately a 0.00% chance that is going to happen. What coaches do you recommend besides yourself? I'll pimp out some of my friends here because I refer clients out to coaches, by the way, who have needs outside of my own. I won't get into all those because some of them are women. I don't want people harassing them. But I don't do women's weight loss for any of my clients. I outsource that to a friend of mine. But as far as coaches I trust, Chris Duffin, Alex Viata, Clint Darden, right? These are all people I know and trust. But again, we're talking about how good of a coach do you need? Are you trying to do something elite or are you just trying to get to a 500 deadlift? Like, you don't need a coach of any of their caliber to get to a 500 deadlift. Let me put it that way. But if these are coaches I recommend, those are all people I know personally from conversations over the years or have gotten to know them quite a long time. And they're coaches that I trust. I trust their knowledge and experience. I actually like Alan Bacon too, Dr. Alan Bacon. Can you give some advice for a tall person? I'm 6'5". You're the best. Love you. You got to ask a question about tall people. Watch my training vlog, Cedric. I have multiple guys over 6 foot. Brett is 6'3". Garrett is 6'5". So go watch their training vlogs. I discuss the height stuff quite a bit. Will cardio /lifts on your off days hinder your recovery for the following week? No. Not if you're adapted to it, and not if you're eating the calories back, right? It's fine. I do conditioning work 7 days a week right now, and I have been for quite a while. Even when I was stronger further in before this cut started really hitting me lately, which I'll regain, I was doing cardio every day when I pulled like the 525 for 8 reps. Do you still program for your lifters box squats? Only my conjugate lifters, no one else. Coach, does having short arms make your arm circumference smaller? My arm size has essentially not changed despite me taking my bench from 155 to 250 and chin ups, from 6 body weight to whatever. Okay. No, smaller arms just means that your arms look bigger at the same size than someone like me who has long ass arms. Hey, Jason, do you think a 3-day-a-week squat bench deadlift split is better than a 4-day-a-week upper lower? A lot of elite powerlifters do it, and I found that it's easier to program. You mean what I do right now? Yes, I think it's pretty good. Is it better? I don't know that it's better for everyone. No, I don't know that it's better for everyone, but it's very effective if you know how to program it. Also makes volume management and fatigue management real easy. Love these. I can listen to YouTube for about an hour a day. No need to waste time getting misinformation from people. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Coach, I've been training for a little over 2 years, 500 deadlift in just over 2 years. Damn, son. 450 squat, 250 bench. Okay, it's a little lower. Am I one of the rare natty individuals where it might not be possible for me to hit a 300 bench? What? Bro, you've been training just over 2 years and you have a 250 bench. You're going to bench 315, drug-free. I promise you, just keep putting in the work. Why does it seem like you've fallen out of love with good mornings? I still prescribe good mornings to a ton of my clients, Cliff. I'm just not needing them as much myself these days. What made you decide to start making fitness videos? You were one of the first on YouTube Fitness, I think. My best friend, who I wrote programming for to help him as a police officer, who is still to this day on a CERT team, and I trained him. He is on a CERT team in his 40s. He looked at me one day and said, "You know way more than these guys talking about lifting on YouTube. You should do this one day." And I thought about it, and I eventually jumped in and just did it. He actually put the idea in my head. Is it okay to just emphasize rows for a thick, juicy back, or vertical pulls a must? I don't know that there's a true answer to that. To be perfectly honest, I don't know that there is a set answer to that question. I've done only rows and built my back with deadlifts. I'm only doing vertical pulls right now, and my back still seems to be getting stronger. Thoughts on mini bulk / cuts, for example, 4-week bulks too. I think 2-week cuts are a little short. Right? I think that's a little bit short. I really would recommend running them at least a little longer. And I'm not saying much longer, but double that, maybe 8-week bulks, because you really need that to really solidify the muscle growth, and maybe a 3 to 4 week cut if you're trying to chase body composition. I think those are too short. I think they're too short. I think it's going to hinder your gains. Everything about getting another cat or dog, yes, but it's not something I'm going to talk about here. Hey, Jason, I am 22 and my deadlift is 550. My squat is 440. I stall for long periods of time, and then in 2 weeks can add 30 to 40 pounds in one time pretty easy. What do you think is the cause? Well, I think maybe you shouldn't be knowing what your max is that often. If you just continually just build strength and focus on strength, you don't need to worry about that, honestly. And the cause, because progress isn't linear. You're an advanced lifter now. Progress is not going to be linear. Things are going to undulate a little. They're going to stall and then increase. I don't see jumps like that in my advanced lifters. My guys do have kind of slow linear progression, but it's like 5-pound jumps, like every 6 weeks, their squat goes up 5 pounds, all the way from 460 to 500. I am having an issue on one elbow flaring out more on bench. Any advice on how to correct this? I was thinking lighter pause work. Well, that would help. You need to focus on keeping those elbows in. Okay, stop doing it. People will do something that you have conscious control over, that you have full control over in your mind. And they'll say, hey, any tips for preventing this. And it's like, stop doing it. That's how you prevent it. Keep your elbows tucked. Quit popping them out. What do you look for when prescribing 5s Pro versus standard 5-3-1? Some of my really advanced guys who kind of stall a little bit, and they struggle with maybe bulking and gains to some extent because they don't want to eat dirty. That's usually my guys who need that really slow progress is who I mess with 5s Pro. Or, again, people like Louis right now, he'll have a vlog out later this week with his 5 stuff. And I explained it in detail. I've already uploaded it. It'll be up in a couple days. Do you think it's possibly nuclear war is imminent? If we quit acting stupid, that's not going to happen. We don't need to be involved in conflicts in Eastern Europe. It's not our business. Quit stirring the pot. What's up, Ross? Okay. 90 pounds weighted chin-ups for 3x5 at 255. Not bad, coach. That's crazy good. I lift 4 days a week, overhead press, rows, squat, deadlift, 4 days off, repeat. I work 67 hours a week, 5 hours, sleep 5 hours a night. Is this too much volume at the amount of sleep I'm getting? Yeah. You need to scale that shit way back. How did you overcome the awkwardness of talking to a camera? I want to make content, not necessarily fitness, but it's awkward and I can't get the words out mostly. I made an A in public speaking at college. So I already had learned how to publicly speak. That was hard, by the way. I almost pissed myself during my first speech. Like I was shaking and almost crying. And by the time I got through that class, I think I'd learned everything I needed. And getting on the camera was actually easy for me. I mean, I got a little nervous every now and then, maybe my first 30 videos. By about 30 videos, no. Coach Blaha versus vegan gains in a lifting no. Stupidity. He's not a lifter. He's not even a fitness person. He's a fat, out of shape guy with a bad knee who makes videos talking bad about other people. Okay. He's not fitness. Quit bringing him into the chat at all. He is not a fitness person in any shape, form, or fashion. How do you set up bands for speed work on a rack with no pegs at the bottom? Watch Emma's vlogs. Emma's vlogs, you see her doing it with plates. And I've devised ways to show clients how to do that. Overhead press and rows one day, squat and deadlift the next day, off, then repeat. Where's your benching? How are you going to get big and strong without chest pressing? Which one happens first, 1,200 sleeve squats or 1,100 raw deadlift? Oh, man. For a guy to squat 1,200 in sleeves, he's going to have to be super fat. Talking 500 plus pounds. No lean guy is going to pull that off. So I think the 1,100 raw deadlift is more doable in the current environment. Coach, my sumo deadlift is way stronger than my conventional. I can do a 5x5 sumo using the same weight as my conventional max. Should I build strength from conventional or is building sumo more benefit? Unless you are really short, you have a weak back. Will Emma ever switch to 5-3-1? That will be completely up to her. Coach, what's your current body weight? It's all over my social media. I am been at 209 because I'm water loading and everything now. I'm up a couple pounds, but I'm about to swoosh down to under 200 coming up for an event. But my goal will be to bulk and cut between 200 and 210 indefinitely. That is my long-term strategy for this point. Are you a part owner of a firearms company? I think you said 7 years ago it was a business you were involved with. That didn't work out too well, Cian. It just, it was the police officer I mentioned earlier. One of his friends came up with this idea and started a business, and we were going to work with it. And the other two of us realized it wasn't workable. How is Texas these days? Is it a good state to live in? Texas is a great state to live in, barring the heat. We're one of the freest states in the world. Cost of living is low. Some of the lowest taxes in the United States. We're constitutional carry. And we're very, very pro-business. If you want to start a business, definitely move here. I have long ass arms and legs, 260, pause bench, 275, touch and go, 410 squat, and a 540 deadlift. Will my squat dead ratio stay like this due to long arms, legs, or can squats eventually catch up? That question was too complicated for me to actually answer off the fly. I would need to be able to stop and read it and type something out. I am 6'2" and I feel stronger with a close grip on the bench. What's a possible explanation for this weak chest? You have long arms. A lot of longer arm guys feel more comfortable with the close grip. You will eventually probably be stronger wide grip if you take the time to develop your pecs, right? And learn to get comfortable with it. I fail to see the competitive aspect of powerlifting since every powerlifter eats and trains in a good way. Isn't just genetics everything? Okay, Lucas, using your logic, isn't genetics everything for basketball or sprinting or ice skating or every other sport on earth? That's why do you need to say powerlifting? You could put any sport in there. Yes, genetics matter. I think genetics matter less in powerlifting than in most other sports, to be honest. So if we're going to compare it to other sports, no, they matter a lot less because anyone can get really strong. Someone with average genetics can get really, really, really strong if they train hard and put in the work, do it intelligently, and eat right. Okay. The average person will never sprint as fast as an Olympic sprinter. They will never play basketball like Michael Jordan. What's your thoughts on soy and soy protein? Is the anti-soy trend seen today based on understanding of data? There's some truth to it. I don't like plant proteins in general. I think they're garbage. The phytoestrogen concerns with soy are overrated, not really turn out to be true. But as far as the quality of protein, there's better proteins. Why get soy? If you're going to get a protein, get animal source protein. It's superior. Is it a good idea to lose 2 kilograms per week? Yeah, that's a bad idea. Can you take 200 milligrams of test SIP as a TRT program indefinitely? 200 milligrams for most people is not TRT. That's a super physiological dose. Okay, what does the word TRT mean? Testosterone replacement therapy. If it puts you outside the normal range, it's not TRT. It's YouTube TRT, bro. Listen to Louis Simmons' new deadlift podcast. He said GM is the best deadlift accessory and that his stronger deadlifters did a triple with 865 on the GM. WTF. The GM is a good accessory. Jason, I'm currently on the way to the gym for my low IQ back day bro split. Should I keep my home gym power rack and barbell and plates just in case I grow a brain again and train at home again? I think you should. You never know when you're going to need a home gym these days. Stuff seems to get closed down randomly by governments. Say your post on the functional fitness guy. I don't know who that is. I deal a lot with these kind of people. They are so annoyed. Oh, annoying functional fitness people. What should I say to these kind of people? They remind me of the I used to lift guy. Just ignore them. All right? Just ignore them. That's your best advice. Just laugh at them, humor them, and walk off. What exercise is better for a tall guy? I'm 6'3", sumo or conventional. Conventional is going to be better as a tall guy, always. I'm in school to become a registered psychologist in Canada. I want to specialize in counseling bodybuilders for the polydrug abuse and bigorexia. Any advice from me? Bodybuilders who are doing that are a pretty small demographic. And they're not going to want to talk to a therapist about it because they don't see a problem with it. You're basically going to take their career from them. I don't think you're going to be able to make a living with that specialty. I would say stick with just bigorexia. Stick with eating disorders and body image disorders as a collective would be my advice. Because you're going to go broke in that specific niche. You're going to have like one client every 5 years. Hey, Jason, I love the content. I was recently recommended to you by a friend. I have sacral agenesis, and I was therefore born without the lower half of my body. I have to walk on my hands, although I'm going to assume you say you still train, which is fucking awesome, right? People out there, they make excuses. You're over here born with half a body. and you're probably still training. Okay. I don't want to hear anybody's excuses after that they can't do it because you're doing it. Coach, as a natty, can I bulk and cut indefinitely in a 10-pound window like 210 to 200? Would that be a bad idea? Say I'm 200, I'm 12% body fat. Yeah, I mean, once you finish out all your early first few years of gains, you can do that, right? Because you can't do the 10-pound bulk and cut at 60 to 70 because you're going to be tiny forever. Yep, Jay, one of my clients here. That's absolutely right. That's how it is in those sports. People with average genetics can still compete successfully in powerlifting. To compete in basketball, you have to have good genetics. But you know what? If powerlifting ever grows to that level of prestige, the same thing may happen. Like it literally may turn out that only people who can genetically squat 800 pounds can compete in the 198. How come you don't do more gun shows, bro? We miss your days. Because I don't do gun stuff, man. In this current political and social environment, I'm not doing gun stuff. Not going to happen. It's not worth getting canceled. Thoughts on ultra deficit deadlift? Basically, bar is on the toes, like a 15 centimeter deficit. If you have a really, really, really healthy lower back, I think those can have merit for hypertrophy and stuff. All right. But if you do not have a bulletproof lower back, I would not do that. Thoughts on Ronnie, Coleman, and Branch Warren to an extent type of training, heavy, explosive, and constant tension. Dave Tate said it's pretty good to build the muscle. I don't think Dave Tate's wrong there. To be honest, I think Ronnie Coleman's problems were the way that he rode is what hurt him ultimately. I think that was the biggest factor. But if you look at any of his pressing, you can watch him deadlift, but especially all his pressing. Ronnie Coleman moved enormous amounts of weight, got jacked, and yeah, he was a genetic freak with a lot of gear, massive amounts. But think about the fact that he got his pecs, his delts, his arms, everything that big, and he never had upper body injuries. He never had shoulder injuries, did he? Right? All his injuries were back. But you watch how he rode. I promise you the way he rode caused it. But overall, for your hypertrophy work, I don't think Ronnie Coleman's methods are incorrect. I don't want to discuss Jerry Ward, bro. I don't want to talk about other YouTubers anymore. Hey, Jason, I am extremely overweight at 142 kg and was born with no lower body. How can I work my legs? Well, you don't have legs to work, but you can lose weight with a calorie deficit. I remember you predicting Boston Lloyd not even making it to Rich Piana's age. You were right again. You know, I was right, but I'm not happy about that. That's not something that I look at and say, oh man, I was right. I look at that and go, I wish I wasn't right. Because especially, with Boston, he has a wife and a baby. So there's a baby who's not going to grow up without a father. That's not cool. I don't like that I'm right about that. I wish I would have been wrong. 34-year-old, 1.8 meters, 90 kg, 130, 185, 220 power lifter, but in hypertrophy period. Finding the added 20 to 30 minutes of 3 to 5 machine circuits is helping me gain muscle and keep my SBB heavy. Bad idea? No, GPP is good. Like doing some conditioning, even when you're bulking, is a good idea. I do sled drags when I'm bulking. And even now I'm going to be doing the walks in my weight vest. I do them every day. And I'm going to do that even when I go back to gaining a slow amount of slow bulk again. It's only going to be like a 10 pounds. GBP is a great idea. It will enhance your hypertrophy. It'll enhance your recovery. It'll enhance your work capacity. It'll make you healthier. Hey, Jason, what kind of advice would you give me? I want to go compete in powerlifting. Should I first build a big base? I missed all that. Yeah, build a big base first. Stubborn calf, should you just do higher reps, less weight, or low reps, heavy weight? Why don't you just do solid full range of motion sets of 10? Here's a question I would ask Chuck. Do you need big calves? Like, are you going to compete in bodybuilding? Otherwise, just let your squats, your sled drags, and stuff like that handle your calf work, and just let them get as big as they need to be. I mean, if your squats are big enough to support a 550 squat, and for you to do a 200-pound sled drags across the grass, then do you care if they're bigger? Unless you're going to compete in bodybuilding. Thoughts on Turkish stone? It's garbage. It's a ripoff. Everyone with an IQ knows that it is garbage. Only con men are pushing it and selling it, and you know who they are. How do guys survive taking the 2+ grams of testosterone, HGH, et cetera, that they take these days and live into their 50s? Is that good genetics? Do you think that's what Boston Lloyd or Rich Piana took? Do you really think their doses were that low? You clearly didn't pay attention. We're in a world where 2 grams of testosterone is not even considered extreme anymore. Like, that's not even extreme. There's guys, I've met guys who don't compete in anything who are just gym rats who use 2 grams these days. And I'm talking even up to 7 and 8 years ago. I met guys in the UK on 2 grams a week. 2 grams. Keeping in mind 100 milligrams is a replacement dose. 100, 125 is TRT. They're on 2,000. And they just lift to look good. They just lift for curls for the girls. Thanks for answering my comment, Jason. I would love to become your client at some point. You might be an interesting one to work with. Send me some stuff over later. It seems like powerlifting is a test of genetics and training motivation, little technique. No, Lucas, drop all that. It's less genetic than any other sport almost. You just have to get strong. That's it. You just have to get strong. It is a test of strength. That's it. Test a single athletic attribute, just like sprinting tests only one attribute. And yes, there is strategy involved. You clearly haven't competed. Is it true anabolic steroids without using estrogen blockers can elevate estrogen levels to the point of developing gyno? Using estrogen blockers will reduce your gains and harm your health. It's the worst thing you could be doing if you mean an aromatase inhibitor. Nolvadex can stop gyno completely. That's tamoxifen citrate. Where should someone start when transitioning from bodybuilding to a general strength / powerlifting program? Just go, what do you mean transition? You walk in next week and you start a strength-based program. If you've been bodybuilding and built a big base, you're going to get strong real fast. So you walk in, today's Sunday, you walk in on Monday and you start 5-3-1 or something. That's it. That's how you transition. You just do it. Best exercises for shoulder health and mobility. What I've found in my experience, having had impingements now, dead hangs and pull-ups. How come some more anabolic users have more muscle mass despite being weaker than some naturals? Leverages, muscle fiber distribution, and the fact that a lot of it isn't muscle. Okay? A lot of it isn't muscle. It's actually been found that anabolic users and bodybuilders have the same force production per unit of cross-sectional area of muscle tissue. So those people are oftentimes carrying a lot of water weight in their muscles. It's not actually hypertrophy. Stuff I've discussed in videos some. Any GPP advice for someone with limited space? No, because I would need to know your situation. Hinder, one of my supporters, one of my Orc Army guys. Hey, Jason, can sport-specific preparedness like rolling and BJJ and boxing grounds replace GPP provided intensity is high enough to do this or still fall into more cardio-based activities? Honestly, I've coached a couple BJJ guys who roll a lot. I think it counts as GPP. I think it legitimately counts as GPP, like if you're serious. Do you think that behind the back deadlift is a dangerous movement? No, but it's a stupid movement. There's no point. Why would you do it? Just deadlift. Bro, New England Journal of Medicine online says up to 600 milligrams of test a week, which causes HDL to drop significantly. No, the ones I've seen didn't show a serious HDL drop. I've read multiple studies that didn't show that at 600 milligrams. Coach, do you train enhanced people? Yes. I have multiple people on gear at any given time. I would say my clients are probably 80 to 85% natty, 20 to 15% are on gear. Most of my vloggers are natty. And I'm not going to say which is which. Is it okay for advanced lifters to bulk to 1 kilogram a month instead of 0.5 if you have a healthy body fat? Or is there no benefit? Sorry for my English, by the way. If you're very lean, you can get away with it for a little while. Like if you're 10 or 11% body fat, that type of lean, you may be okay doing that for a short time. I wouldn't do it real long. Not for an advanced lifter. Novice is all day long. Even though Isaac is kind of doing that right now. But, he's going to cut. Coach, have you ever taken a look at some of the lesser known gym owner templates such as coffin form? No, I haven't. A while ago, you made a video about 2 types of hard gainers and the second type being genetic around some part of the world. Do you think South Asians fit this type 2? No. The type 2 hard gainer is too small to cover an entire ethnicity. There's too many people in South Asia to cover that tiny demographic. So how could they? If it's 1 to 2% of the world population that have those genes, we're talking a very small number of people. Are you telling me South Asians are only 1 to 2% of the world population? I don't think that matches. I have had Indian clients who made phenomenal gains. What I have found is that some South Asian men need a little more training volume on average than European or black men need. That's what I've found. That's it. That's the only difference I found. And it's not even across the board. It's just a small trend I've seen in my clients. And I wouldn't say it even applies to everyone. I feel like these are getting buried. Do you think trap bars are rubbish because of fatigue management, having to use more weight, or is it something else? I think it's the unstable lockout. I think it's the unstable lockout that makes it dangerous. And I don't like that. Is the improvements in strength records due to better anabolics or more about better strength training knowledge? I think the better records are threefold. Number 1, more drugs. Number 2, yes, including in the naturals, because drug tested doesn't mean drug free. Number 2, more people compete in powerlifting. It has grown tenfold. Therefore, it's getting a slightly better genetic pool. Keep in mind, genetics will matter for the top 0.5%. They're not going to matter for you winning at the state or regional level. You don't need good genetics to go to the world championship. You do need good genetics to break world records, okay? But not to compete at worlds successfully. So you have that, the larger genetic pool, and then, training knowledge has improved. Is 15 years old and a 350 squat, 280 bench, and 420 deadlift elite numbers? Not me. Depends on your weight. That's weight-based. But I would say a 15-year-old pulling those sort of numbers is crazy good. How do I avoid overuse of my lower back from squats and deadlifts? Don't do 20 sets of squats and deadlifts a week. Congrats on reaching 112K subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you have any free coaching slots, sir? Not at this moment. My last one filled today. I probably won't be taking anyone else on until the end of the month. But if people want to apply, I will look at applications and go from there. Emma looked pretty jacked in that physique photo in her last vlog. Yeah, she's coming along great. I'm very proud of her progress. Do you think cutting 2 pounds a week is too much for most people? Absolutely. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you any further about HDL. Greetings from Slovakia. One of my brothers. I am 260 pounds, 6'7". My bench is stuck at 340. I'm currently doing 10 sets of bench. Would you recommend adding more bench press volume or accessories? You're doing 10 sets of bench. You don't need more than that. You need an accessory to bring up your weakest link. You might need better programming. I know here. I live in South Asia. Some of those guys are big, just doing manual labor. Exactly, Frederick. Like people get caught up in these ethnic stereotypes sometimes due to small amounts of bias, right? Tiny different biases in gene flow, it all of a sudden becomes the entire group. And half the time it's you can find 500 exceptions. I'm a model and need to stay lean 24/7. Should I do anything differently to maximize gains? I'm already an advanced lifter, but I want to hit a 6-plate deadlift. I'm at 540 currently. Ooh, okay. Yeah, you're just going to need to keep your diet tight. You're going to have to do very small bulks and cuts. Maybe do low carb bulking, maybe do some keto bulking. That might be a benefit to you given what you're doing. But if you're at 540 now, you can get to a 585 eventually. What's your opinion on Mad Cow 5x5? I'm not that big of a fan of it. Why is a low pin pull so hard compared to a block/mat pull, less bar bend? It has to do with less bar bend, less position, having the hard stop. Biological law of accommodation and rotating exercises for people getting into general strength/powerlifting. Depends on what training system you're using. But most things are set on 3-week templates anyways, Dan. Even 5-3-1 type blocks, you're adjusting the percentages every week on the main lifts. Okay? You're adjusting the percentages every week on the main lifts. Aren't you bypassing that? How do we apply? Do you have a website online? I live in the Midwest, bro. Do you go through Zoom or do you use nutrition too? Also, this stuff's easily available. You can contact me through my Facebook fitness page. It's linked under every video. It says inquire here for coaching. I use Skype and I use Facebook video. I use Messenger. Nutrition is done as needed. I do not write meal plans. I only cover nutrition for clients who need it. It's not officially part of the package. But if your nutrition needs work to get you strong, because I'm a strength coach, my goal is to get you strong. Okay. Or if you compete in a strength sport, it's to help get you ready to compete. So I'm not overly concerned with your nutrition outside of if it's affecting your recovery from training, if you're eating enough, or if you need to trim down. So I give general nutrition advice to my people if they need it. And about, I would say 40% of my clients at some point need nutrition advice, particularly my guys trying to make weight for a meet. But outside of that, it's not officially listed as part of it. It's strength coaching. And if you need a really qualified nutritionist, I outsource it. I outsource other coaches for different things that people need that's not my wheelhouse. I get people brutally cock diesel strong. That is what I do. That is what I guarantee you. That's what I sell. Is it bad to do variations of the bench squat and deadlift like box band chains on 5-3-1? I think it is. Is cutting out liquid calories a good way to cut body fat, only drinking water instead of soda? Yeah, it makes it easier to have diet adherence. Hello, Jason. Your thoughts on bodyweight exercises such as dips and chins performed in a circuit for conditioning? You got to be pretty strong on chins to really get away with chins on that, and dips sometimes. But if you're strong enough on chins, if you could do more than 10 chins and you're doing 5 as part of the rotation, I would say yes. I would say absolutely you can do that for GPP. You're going to need some, definitely do some squatting in there though too, some air squats or weight vest squats. Until a new slot opens up, can I still do a Skype consultation with you? Yes, I charge $75 an hour for those, and I do, again, at least one a week. But I will not be doing any of those coming up here shortly. So if you want one, you need to get it within the next couple of days. I notice that your current training is still 5-3-1-ish. Would you still call what you're doing now? I would still put it under that category, but I'm about to adjust it into my own org mode system. As far as the percentages, the ramp ups, all of that stuff. Could you do push-ups for boring but bigs? I'm going to the military in September, but I want to extra practice with push-ups. No, it's not going to replace your benching. You can't replace your benching with that. Do more push-ups, right? Practice doing push-ups as your conditioning in GPP. Jason, how are you dealing with the GPU shortage? I've been stuck for building a PC for a year now. I haven't built in a year. Is Mikey close to a 405 bench? He didn't make that much progress in the year he dropped out. We've got him back up around 370 now. And I know he hit 365 with an axle bar. We'll get him to a 405, but he's thinking about cutting soon. He's starting to feel fat at 230. Hey, Jason, have you played Elden Ring yet? No, but I'm tempted. I literally, this is going to sound stupid. Okay, I bought an Xbox Series X, and I played it for several weeks. I haven't turned it on in the last week because I've been busy doing stuff like this, running business, everything, and just sleeping more. So I actually haven't even turned it on because I haven't been doing lifts. I've been doing weighted vest walks, but Elden Rings looks hella good. I am very, very, very tempted to buy it right now. I have multiple friends who've actually told me it's the best game they've played in years. So a person would gain less fat and equal calories on a bulk, keto bulk versus a high carb bulk. Possibly be, that's a very nuanced topic. You will definitely gain less water, and it will let you track your fat more closely because you won't be fooled by shifts in water balance. It'll help you stay on point better. What's the strongest you got someone in a year, like from where they were? I would like Antonio, who you've seen his vlogs. I put 200 pounds on Antonio's squat and deadlift in a year. He went from a 280 squat to a 480 squat. Thoughts on Stan Efferding, who did the 850 plus sleeve squats at 275 rip, doing 3 hours a week in the gym in total. I think it was a 2 or 3 day split. Is this enhanced training style? I think Efferding has a real good grasp on training, to be honest. I don't think his training is off. Anthony, thank you for the donation. I'm not saying I agree with everything Efferding does, but I think he's pretty on point. And I don't think his training is very far off the mark overall. I think it's pretty good. And I mean, the results speak for themselves. You're talking about enhanced, but so is everybody he's competing. Look, if you're competing against 1,000 other people who are all on steroids and you destroy them, is it the fact that you use steroids the reason that you beat them? Okay. If you outlift someone by 300 pounds who's using the same drugs you are at the same body weight, was it the drugs that made you win? Sure, they're a factor. What do you think of the 531 triumphant template? I know some people who like it. I haven't really looked that close out of it. What body fat is considered overweight and obese? Probably anything above 20% we're getting slightly unhealthy. Let's look at it that way. Let's talk about unhealthy. Because, I mean, you can be overweight. You could be obese and have built enough muscle and be pretty lean. Are you really obese if you have good conditioning and good blood work? But, you know, the point is, let's say, I'm going to say anything over 20% body fat for men. Could getting strong on, in fact, let me go back and answer that. I know I was getting sleep apnea at 245 before this cut. And I mean severe sleep apnea, where I would wake up feeling like, that's when I decided to cut and realize I can't compete in the 220. I need to give up on that 700 squat. So I'd gotten to 600 already. When I woke up feeling like I couldn't breathe, like I was literally drowning, like water was being, like someone was waterboarding me, choking, trying to get air. Okay. And I was over 20% body fat and doing cardio every day. So I must say at that point, yeah, you start getting unhealthy no matter what you do. No matter what you do. Could getting strong on a GM plus single leg exercise variations replace squat for general strength? Pushing bilateral squat, leg press, quads, weakness hurts my knees. No, fix your knees. Romaine, the simple solution, fix your knees. Watch Garrett's vlogs. We fixed his knee tendonitis. He now squats pain-free. Wow, you found an Xbox. I can't find any Xbox or PS5 in the Bay Area. Matthew, I didn't pay MSRP. Let me put it that way. I didn't pay $500 for it when I got it, unfortunately. But I really wanted one in December, whenever. I think it was December. Might have been January. Did Arnold really know that much about training? When I listened to him, he just spews bro science. Arnold didn't. No, he didn't know that much. Do you still play Skyrim? It's my favorite game of all time. Or do you play ESO and the new DLC? No, I quit playing Skyrim when I got the new console. All right, guys, you're asking me about games I haven't played further. Is it easier to gain muscle at a higher body fat? I freak out as soon as I see excess fluff on lower belly and love handles. I can deal with it if I know it's beneficial to strength. 6'3", 210. Okay, 6'3", 210, you are not at your potential. You're freaking out about a little bit of excess fluff on your lower belly. Don't worry about it. Trim it off. That you can handle. That's not unhealthy. Yes, you're going to continue to get stronger from the eating. It's going to help you gain muscle, going to help you gain strength. And you can diet it off later. Have you watched the newest Batman movie? No, but I've heard it's actually good. Jason, are you considering doing strongman one day? No, it's not on my agenda. Natural, let me get some powerlifting world records before we discuss me trying any new sports. Okay? Let's not be that way. It's like, okay, I want to reach towards getting world records and then I want to compete in something else before I get there. Like, does that make any sense? What's Mikey's body fat? I don't know. Thoughts on West Side Barbell's new 5x5D 80, 90% weight on squat bench seems brutal for the elite lifters. You're going to die doing that. Don't try it. Coach, do you even enjoy Elden Ring? I already answered all that. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm very tempted. Will this be a viable lower body assistance exercise scheme for squat and deadlift days after 5-3-1 sets? What are your weak points, Anthony? 3 sets of GM variations, belt squat variations, GHRs, and hanging leg raises. You're going to do all that? You're going to do all that? How big is your calorie surplus, and are you running at least a gram a test a week? Don't tell me you're going to do that drug-free and make optimized gains, because you're going to overreach. It's too much. Aaron, I appreciate the $5 about the elephant in the room. What do you think about Ukraine-Russia war? I really don't want to discuss politics, brother. I've told you guys that several times. All I'm going to say, it is not our business. We need to stay out of it. It is an internal conflict between Slavic countries, which is my ethnicity. The West has no business getting involved. Stay out of it. That's my opinion, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not even picking sides. Do you think CBG and weighted dips hit the chest as hard as they do the triceps? I think that's a point of contention. I think they're fairly balanced in regard to that, honestly. I think they're fairly balanced. Do you believe the Icelandics are so good at strength sports due to Viking genes? Some people do. I think it's because they're tall. Strongman height is an advantage. Have you ever heard of Scatman John? You mean the ski boppity bop? Blah, 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 blah. I can't do it, guys. No, I have no idea who that is, man. I have got a shoulder impingement twice from doing full range of motion weighted dips. I now still use weighted dips as an accessory, but no longer do full range. Am I wasting my time? If dips have hurt your shoulders, maybe you might want to just cut them out completely. Right? You might want to think about not doing dips. Why can't you bench press? You do close grip bench press. I eat a typical bro diet because it's cheap and easy to prepare. Chicken, rice, vegetables, eggs, oatmeal, dairy. It's good for long-term health and gains, assuming calories are on point. I think so. But the flexible dieters would say that you have an eating disorder. I don't think that they're right. I think it's perfectly healthy, and I think it's perfectly fine for reaching your goals. What does it mean when you squat and your hip pause halfway to the top? What's the weak link? Or you hit a pause halfway to the top. If it's 3 inches, 4 inches above parallel, that's a standard sticking point. It means you're balanced. Okay? It means you're balanced. If you're getting stuck higher than that, that's very rare. It could just be overall fatigue. You might need stronger adductors. You might need a stronger back. But again, halfway up is going to, what do you mean by halfway up? How high is that? 3 inches to 4 inches above parallel is the standard sticking point that the weight is too heavy for most people if they're balanced. Got it. I'll stick with what we see in the client vlogs. Thanks for all the goof information. I think you meant good. All right. Take care, Pilbert. Why are hamstring tears so super common compared to other injuries at the very top levels in the squat and deadlift, strongman, training to your sheer size of the guys in the weights. Gym blog. Let's look at sports that have a higher rate of hamstring injury than that. How about soccer, aka football? How about sprinting? Don't they have just as high of a hamstring injury rate? You know why? It's because hamstrings are fragile. It's a reason we need to overdevelop our hamstrings. We need to overdevelop our hamstrings to avoid injury. I used to pull hamstrings until I started doing, glute ham raises, good mornings, all that stuff. And then I stopped having them. And by pull, I mean to wear half my leg turned black pull. Thoughts on influencers telling people they can stay lean while being at morbidly obese BMI? I mean, how lean? They tell them they're doing it without drugs. If they say there's drugs involved, I don't have a problem with that. Do you think we're the only intelligent life in the universe? You at least think there's some alien somewhere. I don't think there's a remote possibility that we're the only intelligent life in the universe. Statistically, it's almost impossible. Cutting currently without a significant amount of coffee, I'm half asleep. I think I need to reset my caffeine tolerance. Should take a break in the middle of the cut or during a maintenance phase. You drop it cold turkey, just be prepared. Research what's going to happen. You can drop it immediately. You'll be fine. You're going to have some headaches for a few days. Mr. Blaha, are you the right man for coaching? If my goal is to get huge, I'm a novice lifter. If you don't have any strength goals, I'm not going to coach you. All my guys get big anyways. Look at a lot of my lifters. They're all big. But our goal is strength. We get big because getting big is required to maximize your strength. So if you tell me you have no strength goals, I appreciate it, but I don't need that sort of client. But if you tell me you want a 600-pound deadlift and to get huge, then you're a potential client. Jason, what is the maximum recoverable volume per body part per session? Is it 10 hard sets per session or week? You say 5 sets weighted chins, 5 sets of rows be too much in 2 sessions. Honestly, I think for most people, 20 sets a week is too much. I think that you're actually going to make less gains on it total per week. In a single session, 10, 12, 13 tops per body part at the most. And that means you're only going to train that muscle once a week, right? If you're going to spread it through the week for most guys, it's probably closer to 15. Most girls, it's closer to 20. And even if you can recover from it, you may not be recovering optimally. Again, I have some guys who've gotten real strong and real jacked real quick on 10 sets total per week. You really give out the best free information. YouTube, I don't know why your following isn't bigger. Futures, because there was an enormous hate campaign against me for years, and that didn't help. It's largely died out. People have realized more and more. Even people who hated me in the past have kind of said, yeah, he's legit. He knows what he's doing. It'll grow over time. It's starting to grow again. Some of my clients feel the same way. I've had Louie and Emma tell me, they're like, you should have 1 million subscribers. On 531, boring but big, what percentage of your 90% moderate max would you do the 5x10s of 50 or 60? Depends on how advanced you are. If you're advanced, 50%. If you're more novice, 60%. Jason, what would you do with a client who is an avid arm wrestler? I get him as strong as possible. Then we do sport-specific stuff for his arm wrestling. Better to do JM presses and other tricep presses on the floor or on a bench. I don't know that there's an answer to that. I don't think one is necessarily better. What aspects or philosophies of West Side / Conjugate did you originally believe when you got back on Conjugate that you no longer believe? What aspects do you still believe? I still think it's a valid system if you have the equipment buy-in. I think that to make it really work effectively enough to utilize, you need some equipment buy-in. I think that the biggest changes are that I agree more with Matt Winning's version of Conjugate instead of West Side's, that you shouldn't really hit true all-out maxes. I agree with Winning that 90% maxes will give you 100% of the strength gains with less risk of injury. And we can rotate exercises less often accordingly. Okay. I also think that the lighter speed work gives you the exact same benefits, but you recover easier. Okay. You recover easier. So again, I agree with Winning on that change also. So those are two of the biggest changes. Chain push-ups overload at the top, an acceptable fluff exercise after bench, for example, max/speed work, then like 3 sets of bench, then the push-ups. I prefer them to dips. Yeah, I think that's perfectly acceptable as a back off exercise to finish. I think chain push-ups like that are perfectly fine. Yep, they'll do the job. Is a 27 or a 28 fat-free mass index possible while being 16 to 20% body fat? Maybe 20% body fat. 16, that gets real questionable. 10%, no, not going to happen. L4 and 5, then he's going to go calculate my fat-free mass index and come back and yell at me. You put a hashtag natty. L4 and L5 and L5 and L7 annular tears. Should I quit deadlifting and squatting, in your opinion? 43 years old. Brother, I'm not comfortable answering that one without a lot more info and talking to like your physio. I'm really uncomfortable answering that question. Sorry. I hope you can understand that. Are deadlifts a set for your traps? I believe deadlifts build the traps, yes. I noticed my traps got bigger even from those rear shots. And you guys did too when I started doing more volume deadlifts again. How much do you think a silverback gorilla could deadlift, squat, bench, overhead press? Their strength must be massive. I don't know if they're built for all those lifts. I bet you a silverback gorilla male could deadlift 2,000 pounds though. Jason, on deadlift day, do you think 5-3-1 deadlifts, first set last, 5x5, and then 5x10 RDLs and hanging leg raises? That's a lot of volume. You could do it, but you are not doing any other posterior chain work that week. Please tell me you're not trying to do anything for hamstrings or low back on your squat days. That's a lot of volume. And if you're doing that, you need to limit your posterior chain work to that day. You can probably get away with it though, and a lot of guys can, depending on how advanced you are. If I can bench 205 and deadlift 315 without ever lifting weights at all, that's pretty rare. I mean, it does happen. Do you have any idea what I might be able to achieve, or is there too many variables? Okay, usually the guys who do that have still trained. Okay, they're like, well, I worked on the farm or worked on the ranch. Okay, so you did resistance training. You lifted bales of hay and stuff every day. Okay, you did train. So therefore, you're not genetically any better than the guy who started at the 135 deadlift or the 60-pound bench, if you did it that way. Then you also have to deal with the idea of epigenetics, right? You have epigenetics at play. Guys who start out with some of those switches turned on, they don't activate them during training because they're already on, and other people activate them over several years of training. You just got some freebies. It doesn't mean that your endpoint's going to be better. You just started closer to the end goal. You're not automatically guaranteed to have a higher end goal. Should I breathe out on the positives of your heavy reps or breathe out when you're completing the rep? I guess it depends on the rep. I exhale a lot near the top of my big lifts, like squats, like bench presses. Deadlifts, I do not. I try to hold my breath all the way until the lockout and until I'm lowering it. Thoughts on floor pressing on mats to increase range of motion for someone without a bench? It may be really uncomfortable for your back. Just be careful with it. It can be done. Just be aware of that. Be sure that you don't hurt your back doing it. What is the main cause of so many Achilles tears and how can it be avoided? Oh man, I guess it depends on the sport. Honestly, being very careful in how you perform your jump work, right? Not jumping down, only jumping up. Building those tendons up with sled work, things like that would probably help those things a lot. Can you explain what speed work means? That's dynamic effort work is the way they do it at Westside Barbell on the conjugate method. It means lightweight done extremely fast for compensatory acceleration, preferably against accommodating resistance like bands or chains. Watch Emma's vlogs. She does speed work in her vlogs with bands every week. Do you think bulking for like 2 to 3 years straight and getting as strong as you can cause health issues? Bulking that long? Depends on how fat you get. I think most skinny novices should bulk for 2 to 3 years. Robbie has been bulking for 2 years. My client, Robbie, he's got his own website and he puts videos up. We talked about, he actually asked me if he could start doing a vlog. So around the end of the month, we may start vlogging him and you will see that he is not fat. He's gained 40 pounds in 2 years, and he still has a flat stomach. So it depends on how fat you get in that time. Is it a nice slow bulk, or did you bulk at some point? Did you dirty bulk? Jason, hey Jason, how would you program sprints into a program? Would straight after the lower body training be, or would it need to be done on a non-lifting day? If you're going to get serious about sprinting, you probably need to program it on your non-lifting days, right? But if you're not like a sprinter, you just want to work on sprints for the speed, doing it after your lower days is actually a good place to put it. But again, there's a difference between just working on sprinting as part of your GPP and because you just want to be more athletic, and being a sprinter where you're going to be timed for something in a sport. Okay, even for something where football, where they're going to time it. Hey, Jason, I can do 4 days a week, upper, lower, 5, 3, 1, boring, but big. Can I change the bench days to a decline bench day? I would say, why did everyone want to change the lifts? Luke, why does everyone want to change the lifts? What's wrong with the classic lifts? They're great. I've explained in numerous videos why they should be your foundation. I got more videos coming explaining it. Why change it? If you want to do some decline work because you think you'd benefit, do it as a supplemental lift. Do it as an assistance movement after. How much less weight should you expect to deadlift on a 2-inch conventional deficit versus a conventional deadlift? Anywhere between 5 pounds better up to 70 pounds less. Depends on your leverages and where you're strongest and how strong your quads and hamstrings and stuff are. Jason, when doing 5-3-1 boring but big on press days, would you see benefits in doing 5-3-1 push press and then 5-3-1 doing strict press, or just keep the same exercises for both? All right, kind of comes back to this other thing. Why are you guys trying to change the exercises? Use the push press as a assistance movement. Winning says, Cappy on me work at 92%, but how do you know when this is a new lift without testing your maxes again? All right, Jim Vlog, it's real easy. When you are ramping up and you hit a weight and you go, I think I can only get 2 reps with this weight, you're 92%, right? You pass 90% when you go to press that weight and you go, I could do a second rep with this, but I don't think I can do a third. You rack it and you're done. There you go. You're 91, 92%. It's that simple. You know when you lift a weight if you could do another rep without the spotter helping. You know that. Benefits of doing 1 AMRAP set at 50%, 30 plus reps after a heavy bench press, worth it or not? I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. No, you just do multiple sets and get quality fatigue and volume. Does a training max mean the most weight you can move? No. A training max is usually probably 90%, even as low as 85% of your max. A training max is a lift that you could hit any day of the week, no matter what. So a training max is a lift that if you didn't go to sleep last night, you stayed up partying all night or banging your new girl, and you didn't get a single hour of sleep and you walk into the gym, you'd still be able to grind it out. Training max is a lift you could hit if you walk in with the flu, you could still pull it off and grind it. Okay? A training max is not your all-out true max when you're good. Is it true that low bar squat works quads just as much as high bar or front squat? The data does seem to indicate that. What do you think of Greg Doucette saying it takes 5 years for a male to bench 225 at 176 body weight with average genetics? I'm going to call bullshit on that. Bad training, maybe. Alpha Destiny rotates max work every week in his training, but instead of speed work, he does a volume day. Yeah, he uses MERE, not MEDE. He's made good gains doing that. So how do you think it could work like that? Because he's doing MERE. And that is a valid variation of conjugate. I rarely program that. I have programmed it, but I rarely do so. I would almost say if we need to do that because someone doesn't respond to speed work, maybe we should run conjugate. My opinion. What's he squatting these days, by the way? So you said he's made good gains. He's got a phenomenal bench. What's he squat? I don't know because I haven't watched him in 3 years. What are your go-to for high stimulus, lower fatigue exercises to add a strength program for general strength, assuming there isn't a specific weak point you're targeting, but from a more general lifter? I like, I'm going to say closed grip bench, dumbbell bench. I think pull-ups count in that category. Reverse hypers, belt squats, glute ham raises all fall into that category with a very high stimulus to fatigue. Would it make zero sense to spend a few years doing zero speed work or max work until you have built a decent amount of size and then work them in if you want to? It seems more time efficient that way. Now, if you want to run conjugate, run conjugate. You don't need to wait a few years. If you don't want to run conjugate, then build your base doing something else. It's not that hard. Either you want to run the system or you don't. Either you think it's right for you, you don't. Either you have the equipment for it or you don't. Louis Simmons trains novices at his gym sometimes and then builds them up using his methods. Why are people so obsessed with Zerchers? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I've already answered the Batman movie one. Can you sandwich single joint exercise between compounds instead of pre-exhaustion? For example, bench, tricep extensions, and dips. You're doing pre-exhaustion. Okay, you were pre-exhausting for the dips by doing it that way. What has every single study that has ever studied pre-exhaustion found? They have found that it gained less muscle, less hypertrophy. Pre-exhaustion has been proven in every study that's looked at it to be inferior to just working out normal or getting bigger. These live streams are awesome, Jason. How would one program 531 going to be big for 3 sets per week instead of 4? Is it 3 days of full body, IG Monday, Wednesday, Friday? I don't really understand your question, brother. I don't fully understand your question. I've got a lot of clients on different versions of 531, 3 and 4 days. I don't put anyone on full body. Only ranked novices not getting custom programming go to full body, in my opinion. Thoughts on Duffel velocity-based training pointless or for non-advanced? Maybe it might be pointless for non-advanced lifters. Do I think it has some merit to it? Yes. What point you want to become more mature and stop making drama? Or what made you want to become more mature and stop making drama videos? When I realized it was having a negative impact on my life and my own mindset. And Clone, let me put it this way. I'm going to be honest, and I said this in another one. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I literally only made the drama videos for one purpose and one purpose only. Do you know what that was? Money. I did not give a single fuck about other YouTubers. Like, I actually hate watching them. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I hate watching YouTube fitness, and I hated watching it then. So that's why I don't watch it anymore, because I don't like it. And I made those videos because, hey, they paid a lot of money. I would say in 1 year at one time, I made like $40,000 just off the drama videos in a single year, just those by themselves. I would rather make my money doing something I enjoy, like coaching. And my coaching makes a hell of a lot more than 40 grand a year. Will Mikey's vlogs resume? No, we've already said he's not going to be vlogging again. I'll occasionally put one of his maxes up. My girlfriend just became an intermediate. I have read that programming for women is a bit different than for men. She can only train 3 days a week. What program do you recommend? Programming for women is only different if in the sense that they can handle a little more volume. That's it, right? Any good intermediate program will be fine. Just run her 3 days a week. What time do you regularly go to sleep? Like 6 o'clock? Like 6 p.m., bro. I'm an early to bed. I'm 45 years old, and I sleep at least 9-10 hours a night. These lives are sick. Thanks, coach. 50 to 60% good for speed work. I think 50 is as high as I program anyone anymore. Okay, again, I'm not going to answer another Putin question, bro. Sorry. I like your progress and mature attitude, coach. Thank you. Jason, thoughts on running 531 on the only standing press one time a week. Currently only squatting twice a week to keep my lower body strength. I currently have limited equipment and no gym access. I mean, you can make it work. I would say in your case, that's a valid reason to change lifts. You don't have equipment. It sounds like you got a squat stand. You maybe a rack. You could do a floor press day instead of a bench. Louis Simmons recommends illegal wide 6x6 up to 8x8 with really lightweight for chest maxing. I think illegal wide for volume is good for building your chest too. And I prescribe it to clients. I usually prescribe it at 5x10 with a lightweight though. All right, guys. Wait, Alpha Destiny back squatted 315 for 6 to 7 reps in a recent video. So in other words, the training hasn't worked for him. Okay. And because again, I haven't seen him in 3 years. I have no idea. And I don't have any beef with him, but people just told me, well, his training worked well. He benches as much as he squats. He can't squat his bench then. So it hasn't worked. It didn't work. So why did you lie to me and tell me his training worked? You see the problem there? Why do you go to bed so early? Because I like going to bed early. Because I'm going to wake up at 1 or 2 in the morning, no matter what time I go to bed. And I've done that for 20 years. And it lets me ensure I get better sleep before that wake up period hits me and I have to do something to go back to sleep. So that's why I do things like the pull-ups. Or I used to do all my breakfast chats were done at like 2 in the morning. Every single one of those that I did last year that I'm still uploading. I got like 30 of them left. Every single one of those were done at 2 in the morning. My brain flips awake and I have to do something. So that's why I go do like the pull-ups and film it and then upload it and then go back to bed. Ben Collins finally got in on one of these. Yeah, but I'm about to wind it down. I'll do a few more questions though. Do you think the Iranian strength guys lifts are legit? One of them that outbenched Maddox. I discussed that on my Facebook already. I've been discussing that on Facebook already, man. I gave you a whole post. I am skeptical because of the situation with Iran, the fact that he still hasn't got on a platform. Is it possible? And a lot of people are skeptical because of the fact that they look at what he did in meets 2 years ago. The guy gained, 300 pounds on his bench in 2 years. I don't know. Now, does he look strong enough to bench over 700? Yeah, he does, looking at the guy. I would look at that guy and think that. But until he steps on a platform and we see legit plates or whatever, I don't know. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but we need to see it in competition. One of my supporters, how's it going, Jason? First time catching one of these live. I've been watching them all after. Yeah, man, I'm winding it down. AGI is a 25 fat-free mass index at 18 good potential without training, or do I just have certain You don't have a 25 fat-free mass index at 18. You've misestimated your body fat. Unless you come back and tell me you've been blasting a gram of test. If you were to choose between low handle trap bar, cambered Swiss bar, McDonald bar, or a big camber squat bar, which one would you choose? Already have quite a few bars. I don't like the low handle trap bar. That's why mine sits in here. You never see me use it. Cambered Swiss bar. I do like the cambered Swiss bar. I'm going to go with the big cambered squat bar, though, the rackable one. Were you 220 for the 605 camber bar? I was over 240 when I hit that. That's why I started cutting. I started feeling real unhealthy. What age window would you say is a man's prime? What's prime in what way? I don't think that we can answer that. I don't think we have a prime. You just do your best to be the best that you can and keep getting better at every aspect of your life, every day, every year. 3 days a week intermediate. Would the Texas method be better than the 5-3-1 on a 3-day split week? I would rather see you do a 3-day 5-3-1 because Texas method is full body. Intermediate shouldn't be doing full body. It's not optimal. Hey, Jason, what would you say are the best GPP exercises for upper body and lower body if you had to break them down into two groups? Why are you breaking them into two groups? I guess in that case, you could do a bodyweight circuit, or I guess you could do tire flips, but that involves lower body. So now we're having to break them up. Like you're putting restrictions on your GPP. Like, because I'm sitting here going, well, sled drags for the lower, definitely top end, but are my best weighted carries upper or lower? Because the weight's up on my shoulders and my torso has to handle it. Are you going to limit yourself to dividing them upper and lower? Like, why are you placing unnecessary restrictions? For someone whose goals are to get brutally strong with a slight emphasis on aesthetics and have a lot of variety in my training, would you suggest conjugate? If you need a lot of variety, if you psychologically need variety, conjugate is good. If you don't psychologically need variety, I recommend stuff like I run, like Isaac runs, like Brett runs. Sleeve Genero boots. She didn't want your children. Who are you talking about? What the fuck? Okay. I notice whenever I do 3x10 at 70% of 1 rep max, I always start failing at 8. Should I do them at 65? Assuming you're doing back off work, I'm surprised you're getting even 8 reps on your third set. Cut it down. And if we're doing the way I prescribe, I never prescribe straight sets first for anyone but ranked novices. So you're always doing heavy work before your 10s or speed work. You need to drop it to 60% or even 50%. Do you believe in a natural limit that you'll ever stop gaining muscle and strength as a natural? Some people think it's after 5 years, which is bullshit. I have friends who've made gains for 25 years. The point is that they never get past a 25 fat-free mass index when really lean. Like my friend Nicola, right? My friend Nicola, been training 28 years. When he's cut down contest lean, he's at a 24.8 fat-free mass index. Phenomenal genetics, 550 squat, 630 deadlift. He never maxes on his bench, but I've seen him do 8 reps with 315. Okay. Absolutely beast for a natural, but he's gained like half a pound of muscle every year past the 10-year mark. But it still has kept him under that threshold. So it's like you can get closer and you can come down to the point to where you're gaining a few ounces of muscle a year, but you're not going to stop if your training and nutrition are on point. It's just going to get super, super, super slow. Ben Collins, do you only do 50% intensity for deadlifts if you were doing 5x10? Yes, me personally, because of my strength level. Right? The stronger you get, the lower the percentages on that high rep work has to go. It has to. And Wendler explains that even in his books in detail. And I agree with him. It's my own observations. And there are plenty of coaches out there who I've seen give detailed explanations of the internal mechanisms in the muscles as to why that's the case. You have to. Well, Carr, take it down to 60% then. You shouldn't be hitting failure. Your supplemental, your back off work shouldn't be to failure ever. You should be able to get those 10 reps and on the last set, know that you could have got one more rep. If you can't, it's too heavy. We don't train to failure. It's not good. All right, guys, I've been in here longer than I wanted to be. I have something to take care of here shortly. So I hope it has been informative. I hope it has been enjoyable for you guys. And I will do more of these in the future. There will be a week this month where I don't do any of these. It's just going to be what it is. But I will do plenty of these every month. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you next time.